Hello and welcome back to the AA NBA podcast. I'm your host, Aiden Hammond.
And I'm Aditya.
And, it's Saturday. The Colts just lost. A little bummed about that. But full-on NBA mode now. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk some basketball. I'm excited for the Pacers. So let's just start out week 3 power rankings. I went first last time. How about you go first this time? Who you got?
Sure. So my number 5 is the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh.
The team is winning games. They're 6-2 right now. They only played 2 games this last week, but they won both of them. They beat the Pels and the Rockets, so 2 pretty solid teams.
Yeah.
I had them barely edging out the Sixers because even though the Sixers are the top seed, they went 2-1, but now I think they're losing to the Nuggets. Seth Curry got COVID. A bunch of the team is out, so that kind of impacts the week.
All right, okay. Our lists are going to be very different, I think, though.
That's good, though. That's good.
Okay. My number 5 is the Boston Celtics. Celtics were nice this week, but there are a couple teams in both conferences, that I think are better than them. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both looked dominant, and actually, an hour ago, it was revealed that Jason Tatum has tested positive for COVID. Not great.
That wasn't a factor in my power rankings because I kind of forgot about it. But
I mean, it's the season so far. It's not stuff to come. So I get why you did that. I like the Celtics this year. I think they're good. I think they're better than last year. I think that Jaylen Brown has taken unnecessary step forwards. And I think he's going to be really tested. I'm excited to see what he can do because I think they can go. I mean, who they got this week or in the next 10 days, let's say. They got the Heat, the Bulls, the Magic twice. And then the Knicks. And then
the Sixers.
Maybe
twice.
They'll have him back for the Sixers. Because today, what's today? The 9th? So they could have him back by the first Sixers game if he's only out for 10 days. If he's out for 14, he won't be back until the Cavs game. So that's a solid 5 to 7 games without Jason Tatum, who, has been pretty much the consensus best player. And I want to see what they can do. I want to see what adjustments Brad Stevens makes. And, they're not playing the cream of the crop. They got the Magic twice. They got the Bulls and the Knicks, who I guess the Knicks are pretty decent.
Good, dude.
And the Heat are pretty decent.
Beyblade is carrying.
Yeah, stud. He's carrying my fantasy team as well.
Wish I could say the same.
All right, who you got 4?
My number 4 is the Los Angeles Clippers. I had to move them a step down from last week. They went 2-2 this week. They beat the Suns and the Warriors, then they lost to the Spurs and the Warriors. I initially had them at 3, but they blew. And then I remembered that their loss to the Warriors was a 20-point, they blew a 20-point lead that they had.
Yep.
And Steph Curry's been playing out of his mind, but you still can't blow a lead to Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins. So
it did not. It did not look like a salvageable game for the Warriors when I checked in last night.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
They scored 40 points in the second half of that game, and the Warriors had 30 in the third quarter. So not good. And obviously Steph Curry is playing out of his mind, but their second best player was Andrew Wiggins. He was clamping up Paul George. What are you doing, man?
Yeah. Oh, also, I should mention for the Celtics, Peyton Pritchard is fucking awesome. He made a game winner this week.
Yes.
I just want to shout out Peyton Pritchard. I think pretty much everybody had their doubts about that pick. I think both of us included. But we're friends with a good.
I thought he would go second round.
Yeah, we're friends with a big Oregon fan who has been singing the praises of Peyton Pritchard for years now. A lot of people thought that was an overdraft, that they could have gotten him early in the second round, or even in I think they had like the 14th or the 13th, the 24th, and the 29th, or the 26th and the 29th. A lot of people thought they could have gotten him at 29. But that just goes
talking
to show.
about this at Teddy's house, because we were talking about some basketball games and stuff, and like he's already becoming like one of the top guards in that rotation.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he's already passed Romeo Langford,
and
Carson Edwards wasn't playing much, but he passed him. Obviously Kemba is gonna still be above him, Marcus Smart, but like he's up there right now.
Yeah,
he's playing really well.
Yeah, he's great. I think he had like 18 and 8 the other night, which is like, that's good production from Kemba Walker most nights. Like I think that's about what he averaged last year. He might average a couple more points and like a couple less assists, but like that is,
which is worrying for me because I don't need Kemba Walker coming back and taking less shots.
Yeah. But that's from Peyton Pritchard. That is solid production for a starting guard, and really even. And I know that's not what he's averaging, but that one game, really nice. I think he's a good piece for them.
Yeah, he's definitely solid.
And he also made it against one of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah.
I think he made it against the Heat, right? But that's not the same game he had 18 and 8 in.
I don't know. I didn't know he had 18 and 8 one game, but
I thought maybe he didn't, actually.
I don't know. Oh, well, back to the Clippers.
Yeah.
Their bench, again, so I'm really fixating on this Warriors game because it was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, my God.
Through that entire game, their bench had 20 points through the entire game. And in their starting lineup, Batum and Beverly combined for 17. So it's 37 out of their 105 points coming from not their top 3 players, which isn't going to stand, later in the season, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They got to get that figured out.
Not to spoil too much, the Clippers aren't in my top 5 after losing that game. They probably would have been if they hadn't. But yeah.
I just kept them in my top 5 because they still went 2-2, and they did beat the Warriors earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got the Indiana Pacers. Pacers have been awesome under new Nate. I'm gonna say that right now. They have been.
Their offense looks like it's from the 21st century.
Yeah, which it's not like it was it was not a bad offense. It just was not fun to watch, and when it stalled badly. Like, it was a bad offense when it would stall. This year, when it stalls, it feels like last year when it stalled, it felt like the game was over, and this year, when it stalls, it's like, oh, well, I mean, maybe they could still salvage something. Like, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, last season, is when the game stalled, it was like, all right, defense, just try to keep us in the game
exactly
until someone can hit a shot.
Yeah.
But this year, they don't have to worry about that because everybody's
hitting shots
too much. Yeah. They're really moving.
I think they have 3 players averaging 20 points a game: Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, Domantas Sabonis, and then Miles Turner
looked really good.
Yeah, Vic has looked pretty good, and then Miles Turner is averaging something insane, like 5 or 6 blocks a game. His season average. Hold on, let me pull up Basketball Reference.
The goated stats website, as some say.
Yes. But yeah, he's the best shot blocker in the league this year. He's got if he wasn't playing for the Pacers, he would be legit depoy conversation. Yeah, he's averaging 4 blocks a game this year.
He should have been depoy. What was it, 2 or 3 years
ago?
No,
he shouldn't have been depoy. Rudy Gobert deserved it. He should have made an all-defensive team, though. That was bullshit that Embiid made it over him. But yeah, they beat a really great Pelicans team.
Are you good, bro?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about who we beat this week. Okay.
Pelicans and Rockets.
Yeah.
They beat the Pelicans in overtime.
Yeah. The Pelicans game specifically, and I know they only played 2 games in the last week, but those were 2 really good wins, and they play today in 7.
Yeah.
So
And in that Pelicans game, Victor Oladipo hit those insane clutch threes.
Yeah. And then Miles Turner, and then Miles Turner hits that one to tie it up. That's the sort of thing when you're like on 2K and you're like, okay, 24 seconds left, down by 8. I can definitely, like, all I need is like 2 threes and a 2, and I just got to stop them on defense. They got to miss all their free throws. That was what was going through their mind. Like, and it never happens. It doesn't happen in real life either. I think teams that are leading by 6 or more going into the last 24 seconds of a game are like 814-2. Or they were 814-2 going into that game, and now there's like a third loss. I don't know. It was some insane stat like that.
Yeah, it never happens.
Yeah.
But they did it, and that was partially due to the Pacers being able to hit a lot of shots, but it was also partially due to Brandon Ingram just not guarding Vic from 3.
Yeah,
like he was just kind of standing there.
Yeah.
But no, the Pacers have been playing very well.
Yeah, they've been a fun team to watch. They play tonight. They play the Suns. This is another good test. I think this is their last. Yeah, this is their last home game before they go on the road for 6 games. They have a 6-game West Coast road trip. They play the Kings, Warriors, Blazers, Suns, Clippers, then they have the Mavericks at home. So 5-game road trip, West Coast. Scary stuff, but I like their odds. They play 4 games in 5 days. What the hell?
Yeah.
They play a back-to-back, they have a day, and then they have another back-to-back. God damn.
Yeah. The scheduling is brutal this season. And none of those games are televised. Yep.
Well, not on YouTube TV.
Yeah, I don't have YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, oh well. I'm not. I gotta see it in the playoffs because, like, I'm more convinced than ever that they're actually gonna make the playoffs and actually get a decent seed, which I was not going into the season, at least on the decent seeding part.
Yeah.
But I think that they're nice this year. That's all I gotta say. Okay, we just spent like 5 minutes on the Pacers.
Hey, this is a podcast made by 2 Pacers fans. We can do what we want.
Facts. If you don't like it, go to another podcast that is not a Pacers fan podcast, because more than likely they are also going to have biases.
Yeah. Just to different teams.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 is the Golden State
Warriors.
Wow. What?
Wow. That's surprising.
Okay. They went 3-1 last week. They beat the Blazers, Kings, and Clippers, and then they lost the one to the Clippers. Steph Curry has been playing out of his mind.
So good to see.
And the thing is like, the past few years, it was easy to hate on the Warriors team. But, like, when Steph Curry won his 2 MVPs, he was, like, one of the most liked players in the league. And he was fun to watch, and he is now, again, that. And it's amazing.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. The Warriors, everybody was a Warriors fan in 2016. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. Everybody liked that 73-9 Warriors team. Everybody was rooting for them to win that last game, to go 73-9.
Except for LeBron fans.
Everybody was rooting for them to go to the finals. Like, when they were down 3-1 to Oklahoma City, everybody was like, let's go Warriors. Let's get it. And then only in the finals,
except for Thunder fans.
And then only in that last series, like, I kind of didn't care who won that finals, especially once it looked like the Cavs were going to make that comeback. But I definitely wanted the Warriors to win that finals. But then I was like, it's cool if the Cavs come back in the finals. I wasn't that invested in the winner. It was just like, don't even pretend like you didn't like the Warriors before Kevin Durant got there.
Oh, everyone liked the Warriors.
Yeah. Like, it is so fucking awesome.
That's why so many people hated Kevin Durant, because he took the team that they loved and made them overpowered, and it kind of ruined balance.
Yep. But, yeah, I'm just imagining this team with Clay Young,
bro?
Trey. Oh, yeah. With Klay Thompson next year.
Trae Young that plays defense.
Yeah. All right, so, yeah. The Warriors.
The Warriors.
What
Yes.
else what do you think turned the tide for them? Because you're right, this last week has been
Honestly,
crazy for them.
I think there's a few factors. One, Steph Curry has just been hitting more shots and taking more shots. Also, you don't score 38 points on 15 shots, but he's taking more shots, he's making them. But it's also other people on his team are stepping up to an extent. Andrew Wiggins is hitting some shots. Kelly Oubre's hitting some shots. So you can't just leave them all wide open and have 4 people on Steph Curry because, he's going to miss anyway. They sometimes will hit them.
Yeah.
And that's important. And Draymond's back. People kind of over-hate Draymond. He's not going to be, super crazy, but he is important for that team.
Yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Fame. He's not going to – the reason he's a Hall of Famer is not because he puts up crazy stats. It's because he's probably, the greatest – or one of the greatest elevators ever.
He's that guy. He's going to be that guy where 50 years from now, kids are going to go on Wikipedia, look back at all the Hall of Famers, they're going to click on a random one. It's going to be Draymond. They're going to see this guy that averaged 8 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He was an All-Star twice. They're going to be how is this guy?
He was an All-Star 4 times.
Yeah. And then people are going to be how did he make the All-Star game? He's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, his impact.
But he's not. He's really important.
Yeah, I saw a tweet, and it was Draymond Green is really dominating this game, and he has 6 points. And yeah, pretty much
that's how he works.
That's the perfect summation of Draymond Green's game. Is he just fucking will dominate you without scoring the ball, which is weird. That's a weird thing to.
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
It's a very specific type of player.
Yeah, there are very few guys. Dennis Rodman is a good example of that. Because outside
he even got 20 rebounds.
Well, yeah, outside of rebounds, he would score 4 points, and everybody would be right. Dennis Rodman, outside of Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman was the best player on the floor tonight.
But Draymond doesn't even get the 20 rebounds. He'll get 7 or 8.
Yeah, exactly. It's he's so weird. I love when Draymond is on though, because he's not fun to watch.
You're not going to House of Highlights and looking at Draymond Green highlights.
Yeah, but he's when he's all over the place and just boxing out and getting aggressive on the boards, and even if he's just getting aggressive on defense, it's kind of like the Tony Allen sort of thing, where Tony Allen was a super fun defender to watch because he was just all over the place. He wouldn't get 5 steals in a game, but he would make people pass out
He's the guy that
single
you're
teams.
Not watching a highlight reel, but if you're watching a game live where he's doing really well, you're entertained.
He's the first guy your eyes go to on defense.
But imagine this. The Warriors win the championship. Steph Curry averages 40, 12, and 8. Draymond averages 8, 8, and 8. They don't give the finals MVP to Steph Curry. They give it to Draymond.
Yeah.
Think about it. It could happen.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this Warriors team. I was pretty out on them, but before the season started, I was they're not going to be the 1 seed. They're not going to be probably a top 4 seed, but what they're going to do is, especially when Draymond's back, their defense is going to be significantly better. So I was not completely out on them after the first 2 games.
Week 1, you're they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah,
Just because they're number 3 on my power rankings doesn't mean I think they're going to be the 3 seed or whatever. I think as of right now, they're playing well.
Yeah.
All right, you're up.
All right, my number 3 pick. They were my number 1 pick last week. But I think a couple teams are playing a little better than them right now. I got the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is good. Phoenix is really good. I had my doubts about Phoenix going into the season, but they're good. However, they lost to the Clippers this week, and that's it. So they were 2-1 on the week.
And they lost to the Pistons.
Oh, yeah, they did lose to the Pistons.
Yeah, that's why they didn't make my top 5. They dropped the game to the Pistons.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see that. I read that score completely wrong. But yeah, regardless, they didn't wow me this week. There were two teams that I think have been better.
They were just solid.
Yeah, they were solid. They weren't bad enough for me to kick them out, but they weren't good enough for me to be like, wow, this team is better than, the two teams that I have 1 and 2. All right, who you got number 2?
My number 2 is the Celtics. I had them this high because they went 4-0 this week, if I read the scores correctly. They beat the Pistons, the Raptors, the Heat, and the Wizards. So they won all their games. Earlier in the week, there was people like Jenny saying like, are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum the second best duo in the league right now? Because they were just playing so well,
Yeah.
And so I gotta give them their respect. They didn't drop a single game this week, so I pushed them up like really high. They went from, what was it, last week they were 3-4 or something, and now they're 3-3, and now they're 7-3, and they're the 3 seed in the East.
Yeah.
So I had to really bump them up there because they're, getting up there in the record.
Great rebound week for the Boston Celtics.
Yes, and as we earlier discussed, Peyton Pritchard is great.
Yeah.
Shout out Ryan.
Yep. All right, number 2. I got the Philadelphia 76ers. I know that they dropped. Who did they lose to this week? I know they lost a game.
They lost to the Nets.
Yes, they lost to the Nets on Thursday.
And I think they just lost to the Nuggets, or they were about to lose to the Nuggets. But they're missing 9 of their players. So.
Yeah, so I can't really count it against them. But they beat the Hornets twice, and they beat the Wizards. So they were 3-1 in the last week. But above that, I do this as more of a cumulative thing. They're 7-2 total. They're the first seed in the East. It was hard for me to pass them over. But
Tyrese Maxey has 33 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, damn. I have my doubts about their defense because they gave up 122 to the Nets. They gave up 136 to the Wizards, including a 60-point performance by Bradley Beal, which we'll talk about later. 101 to the Hornets and 112 to the Hornets.
Bro, if I may say something real quick.
Yes.
So, this 76ers team already crippled, right?
Yes.
Then they just don't play Matisse Thybulle, even though he's on the active roster. Then they also don't play Shake Milton or Furkan Korkmaz, but they play these other dudes, and I don't get it. They were leading for a little while. If they just put in their actual good players, they could be closer in the game. But Doc is like, no, we are gonna play Isaiah Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, carry on.
Wait, no, I think Thybulle was out.
Oh, I don't know. He's just on the roster. I don't know.
Yeah. They've been good all year. They should be. It feels like they should be better though, because they still they have arguably the 2 best defensive players at their position. It feels like their defense should not be giving up 136 points to the Wizards and allowing 60 points by one player. Even if it is a great scorer like Bradley Beal, they should not be giving up 60 points to him. It's they are still 2, but they're on pretty thin ice. I can't really blame them though, for losing this game to the Nuggets, because half their team is out for contact tracing because of Seth Curry's positive test, and I think their entire starting 5 and their first and second man off the bench were all out. So I can't really blame them for losing this game. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't blame them for losing the game. I just left them out because they got COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Was that all you got for the Sixers? All right. My number 1 is still the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep.
They went 2-1. They beat the Grizzlies and Bulls. They lost to the Spurs. Speaking of which, I was actually looking at the Spurs because they had a lot of good wins so far this season.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
Look out, NBA. The Spurs are looking pretty solid, actually. But no, the Lakers are still. They beat the Grizzlies twice and they beat the Bulls. Not great teams, but it's who they're playing and it's who they're beating. They have I guess they're not the best record because the Sixers are 7-2 and they're 7-3, but they're up there. So, and they're still doing their thing. Anthony Davis hasn't played, or he didn't play like the last 2 games, I think, and they still won. So it's they're still a very good team. Yeah.
My number 1 is the Los Angeles Lakers as well. They're just the best team. I think we all knew that they would be number 1.
Yeah. It's just something you don't want to admit. None of us like the.
Yeah, we don't. But I knew that the Lakers were the best team. I was just like, through power rankings. They weren't like the best team. Like they lost to the Clippers. I had to put the Clippers above them. But I think now that we're getting kind of in a rhythm with the NBA season, the Lakers are going to be in the top 2 or 3 pretty much every week. So yeah.
Are you seeing what's going on in the chat right now?
Yeah.
Mitchell went off on Colts fans.
I know. I am too.
Hey, if
Frank
any
Reich is
Colts
still a good
fans are
coach.
watching this, Frank Reich is not to blame for the loss. You're going to lose anyway. He's the only reason it was close. All right. So be grateful that you have him as your head coach because he is very good.
Yes. He's a
There
good
you go.
coach. Great coach.
All right. And that's the end of the power rankings.
Yes.
Now on to some news and NBA, like just sort of storylines going around in the league. To start things off, can I start it off? Is that fine?
Yeah.
I wanted to start off with John Collins and a Trae Young sort of thing going on right now. So basically, John Collins said that he doesn't like the offense the way Trae Young runs it, and he doesn't think it's a good way to run the offense, which is dumb because like if you played better, this wouldn't be a problem, John. Because I'm on my fantasy team, and like through the first 2 weeks, he was averaging 15 and 8, and it's just make more shots, John. And this won't be a problem. Trae Young is the best player on that team, hands down, and he's the offense. Like obviously, other players are playing well, but without him facilitating, there's no offense.
He's the engine. Challenging a guy who's an all-star and about to get paid this offseason is. As a guy who's solid and clearly not the guy, is always a bad
himself.
idea. Always a bad idea. There has never been one guy in NBA history that has been a really good role player that's challenged the star and it's gone well. It just doesn't really happen.
Here's the problem: is that John Collins wants the max, and you're not going to get that by throwing Trae Young under the bus. He's their franchise. They're going to pick him over you any day.
Yeah.
And no other team is going to give you the max because you're just not worth it.
Yeah. You don't challenge that guy in that way, especially calling him out in a film session. What the fuck are you doing, dude? I don't understand why he would do that, what the thought process is there. It's just...
I can understand the thought process of watching the film and being here, something else could have been done better. But using those film sessions to just say someone's offense is trash, that's not the way to do it, man. And obviously these are just reports, so maybe the reporters are over exaggerating it or whatever. But just based on the reports, it's not a good look.
Yeah, no matter what you're saying, I think they were substantiated claims that, said that it didn't say anything specific, but it just said he challenged Trae Young about the offense, and Trae Young fired back. That was, pretty much all we heard this week. And I get it. There's going to be some, jawing between teammates, especially in a season like this where they started out hot, and then, they've dropped a couple.
Yeah.
But it's just... I don't understand that. It just seems like a kind of a great way to get traded.
Maybe that's his goal
to me. Yeah, maybe, but just ask for a trade.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll trade you if you ask for one. They're probably already going to trade him, even if he doesn't ask for one. So, I mean, fuck, dude. I don't know. I want to like John Collins so bad. He seems like a likable dude, but then he goes out and does this to Trae Young. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you have that much of an issue with the offense, text him. You know?
Yeah, or say something during practice, not a film session.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I saw there's, like, people being like, oh, you know, this looks a lot like Shaq and Kobe. I know it doesn't.
Yeah, no,
Shaq and Kobe, like, actually hated each other. This is just John Collins saying, hey, Trae, you're bad, kid.
And also,
being like, you're a bad kid.
And also, like, I'm sure that they still respect each other as teammates and people. Like, I don't think that this is, like, a relationship-ending argument. It's just weird to challenge your best player like this so publicly in a film session. If you have that much of an... And I know that John Collins' gripe is because he's not involved enough for his liking, which, I get it. He's an NBA player. Obviously, these guys have completely different mentalities about this sort of thing. But he's already dropping 18 and 8 on good efficiency. So I don't know what more he wants. Like, I don't know.
I'm assuming what's happening is that he wants other teams to offer him a max, so he wants to get his numbers up.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it just seems weird. Like, he's what, 23? Like, this is not the kind of personality you want to establish this young and this unproven. Like, this seems like a great way to get shipped to Cleveland, is what I'm saying. Or Sacramento or something.
Yeah.
Like, just a shithole. I don't know.
Did you see what Mitchell sent in our group chat? So, all right, I'll send it.
Oh, is it the Kelly Oubre thing?
Yeah. So Golden State is 19th in 3-point percentage, but if Kelly Oubre had not shot any of his threes this season, they'd be 4th in 3-point percentage. That's insane. Kelly has been bad.
Yeah, he's been horrendous.
But he looks good while doing it.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah, all right. Next up, if you want, we can cover some of the injuries and COVID stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So Derek White is out. It's not for very long, but it's like a small thing. But he was pretty solid. The biggest one, though, obviously, Markelle Fultz tore his ACL.
Yeah, that was a
he's
bummer.
out for the season.
At least he got paid, though. I mean,
that's true. He got a contract.
We were saying that, like, he got his money. I mean, I don't know. I wanted Markelle Fultz.
We all like Markelle
this year.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's rooting for him, and seeing stuff like this just kind of sucks, you know. But hopefully he comes back, and he's overcome a bunch of other setbacks in his career so far. So what's one more? Hopefully he can come back from it. I know, well, one thing is, like, rehab, doing so much rehab, like, actually can take a pretty heavy toll on players, so hopefully this doesn't, like, deter him.
Yeah. Yeah,
because he is good, and I want him to be good, because we all
I hope he can come back to 100%. I definitely had doubts about him, like, last year, and I've been public about it. Like, it was I was not super convinced he could get out of his own head.
Right.
But he did, and he overcame it, and, this just sucks. It always sucks to see a young player kind of get screwed over by an injury like this. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Good luck to Markelle.
Yeah.
Then Killian Hayes, he got
that's a heartbreaker.
A labral tear in his hip. So, I think, what was it? Notice it's something like if he doesn't get surgery, he could be back in 4 to 6 weeks.
Why would he not?
Why would
get surgery?
do that? Yeah, there's no reason to not. I mean, I guess he hasn't been very great so far this season, but maybe get him more court time or whatever. But don't risk possible future injuries to come back to this garbage team right now. Like, the Pistons aren't winning anything.
Yeah,
if anything, you're just going to be there to help them lose more. Like, it's not. There's no reason to come back.
He is the future, okay? Pistons, So what I'm doing is I am giving him money to get the surgery. Like, I'm saying, here, have $500,000 as a bonus in your contract if you get this surgery. Like, it is such a no-brainer. This is already a lost season for Detroit. They're terrible. They're last in the East, or tied for last in the East at 2-7. They have beaten who'd they beat? They beat the Suns, solid win, and they beat the Celtics, solid win. Their combined margin of victory is like 8 points. They are not good.
It's not good.
They're not going to be good. Give him money to sit out and get this surgery.
Yes.
Please, I'm begging you. Because he has looked... He hasn't been great. But the other thing is...
He's potential.
Exactly. And he's only going to make you better. Like, he's not going to actively lose games for you. He's like their fourth or fifth best player right now. Like...
Yeah.
He's not going to... Like, even if it's only 2 or 3 games, that could be the difference between getting the number 1 pick and not. So...
Right.
I mean, or at least having a top 3 odds to get it. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, if I'm the Pistons, I'm like, yeah, definitely sit out. And if I'm Killian Hayes, I am definitely sitting out. Please. Like, I like the Pistons. I'm fine with them.
I don't care for them, but, don't hate them.
I mean, I don't have an issue with them. I wasn't really, like, I've never really... I'm fine with they've been so bad they've been a non-factor, which is really why I think I'm fine with them. Like, they've just been so bad for so long that it's hard to just like outright hate them.
Well, malice at the palace,
Yeah, but that was on Ron Artest. I don't really blame that on. I mean,
no, but that was still like a thing.
I mean, it was, but it was Ron Artest.
It was Ron Artest and a Pistons fan, and then also another dude. I don't know what team he rooted for, but he wasn't part of it. He was just the guy that got beat up,
Yeah. I mean, technically Ben Wallace was the reason that Ron Artest went over to get it on the score table, but we don't talk about that here.
Yeah.
But regardless, Detroit is a team that, like... They've got a decent future.
For a while.
Like, they should be able to tank and get a couple nice picks here.
Well, historically, the Pistons haven't been great with drafting either, so maybe you don't want picks.
Well, yeah. That's true.
I mean...
But, regardless, there is no positive to Killian Hayes playing. He's only going to get hurt again. Like, it's not a good idea. Let him sit for the 6 to 9 months. This is already a lost season. Just do it. Just do it. It's fun.
I agree.
To lose games and, like...
It's not like they're going to be losing any big pieces in free agency this year. They just signed 10 centers. I mean...
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter too much to them in the long run.
Yeah.
But next up, so Seth Curry, we talked about this a little earlier. He got COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of the Sixers are quarantining for contact tracing.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum got COVID. A few of the Celtics players also sat out. 3 Mavericks players have tested positive for COVID-19 now. So it's spreading a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of these happen against the Wizards, which was pointed out a little while ago. But
hey, is that picking up on your mic, by the way?
A little bit, yeah. Should we pause it?
I mean, we don't have to pause it. I can just vamp for a second while you. I mean.
All right. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of COVID stuff this week. Contract tracing. The NBA. I gotta give them props because the contact tracing is super useful. I would say it's controversial because a lot of people were freaking out about it because it took out basically the entire Sixers rotation today, and a lot of people were pissed at Adam Silver. But when you are having teams travel, allowing fans sometimes, when you're not doing a bubble, you have to have strict contact tracing. And if you can play, if you have, I think the minimum is 7 or 8 people. If you have that many, you should play. Even if it's a guaranteed loss because you're going to get your ass kicked. I don't, it sucks, but I'm not gonna. It's not Adam Silver's fault that that a couple teams are having these issues. It's bound to happen. The NFL had contact tracing issues. Like there were a couple. Aditya, are you back on the mic, by the way?
I am, yeah.
Oh, you are. So you've been hearing this whole time?
A little bit of it. You cut out for a second.
Oh, okay.
I
was just saying that, like, people complaining about the contact tracing should stop because that's useless. Like, the NBA needs to have a strict contact tracing policy because if they're going to allow fans in some stadiums and if they're going to have a season, really, like if they're going to have teams travel and not do a bubble, they have to have strict contact tracing because it's tough, but you got to do it because it's, there's a virus going around. And I don't know, what do you think about it? Do you think that the contact tracing's too strict? Like, what do you think?
To an extent, yeah. Just because it's like a player will test positive like twice in the same week. Or they'll test negative twice in the same week. Like after the contact tracing, they'll test negative, then they'll test negative again, and the NBA says like that you still can't play. And that's kind of annoying, especially because like one example would be like Lauri Markkanen with the Bulls. He tested negative twice, but they still didn't let him play until like for the very next game. But that next game was part of a 4-game road trip, so now he can't play for the rest of the road trip, and so he's missing out on 7-8 games because he was near someone that had COVID.
Yeah, that is definitely maybe something that they should look into, but I'd rather them be too careful than not careful enough,
Yeah, and I can't blame them because they're trying to make sure there's not like a bubble again, but, that when it gets to that point where like it's been, 4 days and they haven't tested positive yet, they're fine.
Yeah. Like there were teams like, okay, so I want to talk about the NFL a little bit because I think that the NFL, I would say there are like the three leagues that have played a lot during this, and I don't know a ton about the NHL situation, but I do know a lot about the baseball, basketball, and football situation. So baseball seems to be the most relaxed. Like there was a guy who tested positive on the Dodgers, and he came out for their World Series celebration, and didn't even wear a mask. So that was pretty relaxed. Then the NFL's in the middle, where they have decent protocol, but then you have a team like, the Ravens, where a guy, like one coach comes in and gets like 20 players sick. And then you have the NFL being called hypocrites. Like, here's the deal. There were a couple teams this year in the NFL where they had entire position groups that couldn't play. Like the Browns, none of their wide receivers could play one game. The Broncos had all their quarterbacks couldn't play. That sucks. But that was because they got contact tracing done and knew it was isolated. With the Ravens, they couldn't do that because that guy was around all of the position groups. And all of them were, mingling with each other. With the Broncos, it was one quarterback that got sick, so now all the quarterbacks were out for contact tracing. With the wide receivers on the Browns, I think a couple of them maybe got tested positive, or one of the wide receiver coaches. Regardless, the NBA having a hard and fast set of protocol is a lot better than the NFL doing it on a case-by-case basis, because then you get people bitching about the Ravens getting games postponed when by protocol they should be postponed because they had to finish contact tracing. So with the NBA, like if you have a team if you can field a team, I'm not going to say you shouldn't play.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
that's the end of my rant on this. I just,
I understand. I mean, I can understand why they're doing it. I can't blame them or anything. Just like you said, that's not. It's a hard situation to be in.
Yeah.
But
on a lighter note, let's make fun of the Wizards for a little bit.
They are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The Wizards. Oh my God. Bradley Beal summed it up best. The Wizards could not guard a parked car.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best basketball quotes of all time. We're gonna be talking about that in 20 years. Like people it's just like an all-time sports quote already. I love how he said it because they have given up 110 or more points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games.
So all of their games.
Yeah, in every single game. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, they've given up 120 or more. They've given up 130 points or more 3 different times. 30% of the season, they've given up 130 fucking points. 130. They have never held a team this entire season to under 110. That is ridiculous. That is a horrific defense. Defense is if you play defense like that, you should just be you should have to quarantine because I think they might have COVID. I don't.
Well, think about it. How many teams have gotten positive tests after playing the Wizards, man?
Yeah, but I'm kidding. I think that stuff's a coincidence. But I mean, fucking A, dude. I don't know. I want this team to succeed. I like Russell Westbrook. I like Rui. I like Brad Beal. It's just but Thomas Bryant is a horrible defensive center. He's terrible. Bradley Beal is a horrible defensive guard. Russell Westbrook is barely above or barely average, and this year he's been bad. Pretty much everybody on that starting 5 is a terrible defender. Davis Bertans, not great either.
Well, that was the thing is last season it was this is the worst defensive team in the league, but Bradley Beal he's usually an all right defender, average, slightly above average maybe. But that last season he was the only real offensive player. He was using all his energy. Maybe he's just not giving all his effort on defense. But now they have Russell Westbrook, who is another solid defender. So they can both try on defense and they won't be as bad. But they've been just as bad, maybe worse.
Yeah, and okay, let's just look at. Okay, I'm just gonna use small sample size the 2 Magic games. In one of the Magic games, it was a loss. The starting backcourt for the Magic combined for 45 points. In the other Magic game, the starting backcourt combined for 34 points. That's not bad, but it's also not great.
Wait, you cut out for me. Could you repeat that?
Oh, I was just talking about how the Magic in the 2 games they've played versus the Washington Wizards have combined for 40 points and 35 points.
Yeah.
And that's not a great backcourt. It's Evan Fournier and Markelle Fultz. Not horrible, but
Evan Fournier hasn't even played the last 2 or 3 games. I don't know if that's part of any of them, but
I mean, I don't know. It's just let's look at the Bulls game. They don't have they do have a good backcourt, but they combined for 38 points. These are just. I get it. You're gonna drop some points, but I mean, fucking hell.
Don't drop this many.
Yeah, you have to get better defensively if you have any hope of making the playoffs. And I think that's I don't know. I'm not giving up on them.
I am. They're not making the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not. I can't say that yet because I said that about the Warriors, kind of. And
I'm saying it about the Wizards.
This team,
if I'm wrong,
I don't know.
I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna be wrong. So
it feels like this team has the pieces to get it together. Rui's still out, right?
Yes, I think so.
I think he come back.
Well, even if he was
so.
playing, Davis Bertans hasn't exactly been very good this year.
Yeah, exactly.
The Latvian laser has not been
lasering.
He hasn't been getting it done, man. He hasn't been lasering. Yeah.
I don't know. The Wizards are just a shit show. It's kind of a bummer, honestly, because I wanted this team to be good, but they're just not. All right. And speaking of Bradley Beal, we had two like awesome scoring performances this week. Bradley Beal dropped 60. Steph Curry dropped 62. Crazy scoring output from two different guys this year.
Bradley Beal also had another 40-point game.
Yeah, exactly.
Steph Curry had 38 against the Clippers.
Yeah.
So
we're getting
high scoring. And then there's that other game where Embiid dropped like 38 against the Wizards, actually. But yeah, a lot of good scoring games. Karras dropped 43.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like it's going to be one of those seasons where we get to like, I don't know. In a normal season, it would be like January or February, but it feels like this year we're going to get to like March or April, and it's going to be like, look at all these, like we have 14 60-point games. Here's what players have how many 60-point games. It's just going to be like, you remember last year when there were like, or 2 years ago, it was like, there have been 8 60-point games so far. Harden has 4 of them. Lillard has 2 of them. And the other ones were like, I think Curry and like, I don't know. It was insane. There were so many 60-point games, and we had 2 this week.
Yeah.
Brad Beal set the franchise record. Crazy.
Yeah, it's been very high scoring, which is fun, but at the same time, good defense can be fun too, guys. So maybe try that out.
It can be fun too, but you can't tell me that watching a guy drop 60 points is not awesome.
Here's the problem. Is we're going to get to a point where dropping 60 points isn't fun anymore because it's happening so often.
I mean, I still think triple-doubles are fun.
I don't. It depends on the triple. Like, if you drop like a 40-point triple-double, then sure. But like 20, 10, and 10 is just not. It's not what it used to be, man.
I disagree. It's still incredible. Yeah, but it doesn't. Just because one player made it like normalized, it doesn't mean that it's still not an accomplishment.
I think it's gone down in value as an accomplishment, actually.
I mean, kind of, but I disagree. I think that it's still a crazy thing when a guy gets a triple-double. Like, that just, even though there's kind of a formula for it, it's still impressive. Like, if Domantas Sabonis or like Malcolm Brogdon dropped a triple-double tonight, I would be like, fuck yeah, that is awesome. I'd
be like, all right, that's cool, and then I'll keep scrolling.
I wouldn't be like, nice job, guys. Way to stat pad. Like, that's still cool.
Well, I don't think people say it's stat pad anymore. I think it's just become common. So be like, yeah, he can do that now.
And even like, but that's the thing is that is not gonna happen. Get out. Hold on. Oh, never mind. It's back.
Oh, I'll pause. No, we're good.
Let's go.
No pausing. You're saying that now.
Aditya, it is never going to be commonplace.
People were saying it wasn't going to happen with triple doubles.
They would have to add like 4 minutes to each quarter for players to score 60 points a game at the clip that people get triple doubles. They would,
well,
dude.
Obviously,
they,
yeah,
like,
but,
it is.
It's not going to be like it already is. Kind of like if Harden has a 60-point game, you're like, fuck yeah. But then it's like whatever. The next day, but like 3 years ago, if Harden had a 60-point game, it'd be everything people talked about for like a week.
That's not true though, because it is.
No,
it is not. If Harden had a 60-point game 3 years ago, everybody would be like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. And people still do it. Like, Kobe had that stretch where he scored like 50 points a game for a week, and nobody was like, wow, 50 points a game isn't cool anymore. Like, it's not going to happen.
Well, that's because that was 3 games.
No, he did it for like, he had like 7 straight games where he had 60, 50, 45, 50,
back then,
60.
Scoring was not like that. It was him doing it. Other people weren't doing that as much. Like right now, I could see like 5, 6, 7 players could have like a 60-point game.
Yeah, but I mean, you can go to any era and be like that. Like, you could go to the 90s and be like, okay, well, Shaq can do it, Hakeem can do it, Michael Jordan can do it, Karl Malone can do it. Like, that's 4 guys right there that I think could get 60 points on any given night. David Robinson, like, there are so many guys who can do that, and they don't. And that doesn't make it like less cool. We got 2 in the last week, and we probably won't see 2 more for the next month, unless Harden gets 1 or something. Like I don't know. It's just I don't think that's ever going to be something that people are able to do consistently because it is.
I don't think people do it consistently, but I think it's slowly going to become like more and more like not common. That's not the right word. It's not going to be like people are averaging it, but I think it's going to be a thing where it's like people are slightly less impressed by it. And it's like, all right, let's get to 70, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. But people do it so infrequently that, like, I mean, it's not like even the triple-double when it was a down year, like, there were still players who would get 5 or 6 in a season. Like, people aren't getting 5 or 6 60-point games. And I think that's why people are tired.
Harden did.
He got, like, I don't think he's ever gotten more than, like, 4. But it's still, like, people are not going to average, like when Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double, that's insane.
Yeah, and then he did it for 3 straight years.
And it was insane every year he did it.
Luka almost averaged a triple-double.
Yeah, averaging a triple-double, just because people do it a lot, doesn't make it less impressive. It just makes it a crazy thing that only a few people do. Like, even if people do it 2 times. Like, even if a guy...
Averaging it or just having a triple... Elfrid Payton got, like, 3
triple-doubles. No, averaging a triple-double is an insane statistical accomplishment. Like, I am not knocking... I can't knock somebody for getting... averaging a triple-double.
I can't knock... I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. I'm just saying it's becoming a little more commonplace for people to put up, like, a lot of triple-doubles.
Yeah... I mean, and I'm saying that I don't think that's going to happen for 60. Like, you would have to completely change the rules for that to happen. Like, maybe if they move the 3-point line in or something, that could happen. But I don't know. What else do we have? I feel like we have, like, a couple more things. Maybe not.
Do we have a couple more things? I mean, Jonas Valanciunas left at halftime for, I don't know, something. It wasn't a COVID test, apparently, because that's what, who said it? Mark Stein said it wasn't a positive test, so but they still haven't really said what it is. So
yeah.
But that happened. I mean, there haven't been too many crazy storylines going on. I mean, talk about some of the rookies, I guess. Like, LaMelo's looked pretty solid. Devontae Graham's looked really bad.
Devontae Graham has been... wasn't he, like, the most inefficient player in the league? I'm not super surprised about this.
No, but he was, but he also is shooting, like, 10% worse from the field now.
Yeah, I know, but, like... I mean, once you get below 40% from the field...
He was the most
it's kind of like...
Yeah, last season he shot 38% from the field. This season he's shooting 27% from the field.
That's horrific.
And he's taking less shots. He's just missing them more.
Yeah.
But, like, those things, last season, even though he shot 38% from the field, he shot 37% from 3, and he took 9 of those a game. And this season he's shooting 31%, and he's taking 8. He's just missing more.
Yeah. I mean, I will say he was a guy that I was kind of throwing around for Oladipo. Not anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do
you remember when Pacers fans wanted them to give Aaron Gordon like 4 years?
Dude, I feel like we talk about this like every couple weeks because we both wanted Aaron Gordon.
Yeah. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Really glad they didn't do that. He dunked cool, so he good basketball player.
He's been okay this season.
Yeah, he's been okay. Not worth $80 million.
Oh, definitely not. No, but I think that's all we got, though, right? Like, there's not too much going on. Lonzo and LaMelo played against each other.
Oh, yeah. And it got more media coverage in one game than any of the holiday matchups have gotten combined, even though sometimes it's all 3 brothers playing against each other. Yeah. Like, I would be shocked if the next Bucks-Pacers game got any sort of recognition besides, like, the jersey swap at the end where all 3 of them swap jerseys.
Yeah.
Like...
But, like, 2 Ball brothers, one of which kind of sucks, and the other one's played, like, 10 games, and they get everything.
Yeah, they combined for, like, 17 points.
A bitter Pacers fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, LaMelo had, like, 12. He was good. Like, I think he had.
LaMelo's solid. Yeah. but Lonzo's not.
I think
bad.
LaMelo is
he's getting so much coverage.
already better than Lonzo Ball. That's my hot take right now. He is already better.
And I want to give him a little bit more than 9 games to say that. But the way it's looking is it'll be better than Lonzo by like halfway through this season. So
yeah. All right.
Although Lonzo started off the season shooting pretty well.
Yeah, he was all right.
Not so much now.
Yeah. All right. That's it?
Is that all? He's shooting 39% from the field and 31 from 3. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
How do you get worse?
He's shooting almost better from 3 than he is from the field. It should never be that close unless you're like a 50, 40, 90 guy.
What are you talking about?
Lonzo, right?
He's shooting 39 from the field, 31 from 3.
Yeah, it should never be that close unless you're a 50, 40, 90 guy. Like, it's...
The thing that really amazes me is,
wow.
like, he had, like, 3 games where he shot, like, 6 of 8 from 3. So how is his percentage this bad if he's only played 9 games?
He probably has a couple games where he was, like, 0 of 7 or something. I don't know. Everybody was, like...
That's
at the beginning of the season, everybody was like, Lonzo fixed his jump shot. And I sat back...
It looks better. It's just not going in.
I sat back and I was like, now let's wait just a second. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. According to Basketball Reference, he's one of 4 players in NBA history to average at least 6 rebounds and 6 assists at the age of 20 or younger. So, NBA legend in the making.
Yeah.
Oh, because he did that in his rookie year. Okay, that's why. But yeah, I think that's all we got. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We upload every Sunday.
Ish, yeah.
We'll put both our... What?
Ish, yeah. I mean, depending on when we record.
Yeah.
Sometimes we record on Sundays if Aditya has work.
Well, I'll still try to upload it on Sunday.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you did.
Sometimes
yeah.
I just kind of forget sometimes, and then it gets pushed back to Monday.
No, that's fine.
But, around there.
Yeah.
We both have our personal channels in the description. Podcast, Twitter, podcast, email, and Aiden's article will all be in the description. Yep. Check all that stuff out if you want to. If not, whatever. You don't have to, but if you want to, it's there. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.